Have you ever felt your perfect world crumble before your eyes? That everything you built on love and trust turns to ashes in an instant? This is not just a story. It's a living testament to resilience, the bitterness of betrayal, and the pursuit of justice when life wrongs you. It's the story of Mark, my husband, whom I thought was my knight in shining armor, and how I uncovered his secret life built on lies, and how I reclaimed my dignity from the ruins of his betrayal. My life with Mark seemed like a beautiful dream. A warm home, a lush garden, and a handsome, intelligent, and successful husband. He showered me with love and attention, waking me every morning with a gentle kiss and making my favorite coffee. We planned our future together, for children who would fill our lives with joy, and for trips around the world where we would discover life's beauty hand in hand. Everything was perfect, or so I thought. But does perfection truly exist in this world? Over time, small cracks began to appear in this perfect picture. Strange phone calls late at night, which he'd end quickly as soon as I turned to him. Frequent absences under the pretext of sudden business meetings or short trips. I believed him, for trust is the foundation of any relationship, isn't it? But deep in my soul, a tiny seed of doubt slowly began to grow. I blamed myself. Perhaps I was too sensitive. Perhaps I was overreacting. Mark loves me, I kept repeating to myself, trying to convince my heart of what my mind no longer fully believed. That was the beginning of the end of the illusion I lived in, and the start of a journey I never imagined I would embark on. Those cracks were no longer mere whispers. They became louder, more insistent voices. I started to notice that Mark had changed. He was no longer the man who enthusiastically shared every detail of his day with me. Our conversations became superficial, as if an invisible wall separated us. He avoided looking me directly in the eye when I asked him about his day or why he was late. His excuses changed, and his details contradicted each other. Once, he said he was at an important business meeting in the city, while the next day, he mentioned he was working from home on a secret project. These small inconsistencies began to accumulate, weighing heavily on my heart. Internal conflict gnawed at my soul. I trusted Mark more than anyone in the world, but the growing evidence screamed that something was wrong. Was I crazy? Had I become obsessed with doubts? I blamed myself for these thoughts, trying desperately to push them out of my head. Mark couldn't do that to me. Our love was stronger than anything. I tried to find logical explanations for everything. Perhaps he was under immense work pressure. Perhaps he was going through a difficult phase and didn't want to worry me. But these explanations began to seem flimsy with each passing day. One evening, while Mark was asleep, his phone rang. It was a text message. I didn't intend to snoop, but curiosity, or rather fear, prompted me to take a quick glance. I didn't know any Sarah in our circle of friends or acquaintances. My blood ran cold. My love? Who was this Sarah?
And what did this message mean? I tried to breathe, but the air refused to enter my lungs. I quietly put the phone back, pretending I hadn't seen anything. But those few words shattered the last strongholds of trust I clung to.
I could no longer blame myself. I could no longer find logical explanations. The truth was looming, harsh and painful, and I knew I had to face it. That moment was the turning point, where I decided to seek the truth, no matter the cost, even if it would destroy everything I had built. That text message, a fleeting glimpse on a phone screen, was like a thunderbolt striking my perfect world. I could no longer sleep, eat, or even think clearly. Every smile from Mark,
every touch, every word of love now seemed like a false mask hiding a monster. I watched him in silence, analyzing every movement, every word, every glance. And I began to see the cracks widening in his once impenetrable facade. One night, Mark came home late, and a strange woman's perfume wafted from him. It wasn't my scent, nor that of any of my friends. When I asked him why he was late, he said he had a long business meeting with a new client. Mark froze for a moment, then feigned anger, accusing me of baseless jealousy and suspicion. He said I was overreacting to everything, and that I was ruining our beautiful life with my silly doubts. His voice was loud, and his eyes flashed with a fire I had never seen in them before. I felt alone and isolated, as if I stood by myself against a storm. But this time, I didn't succumb to his accusations. I no longer believed his fake tears or his feigned anger. I knew there was something deeper, something dark, hiding behind all of this. I began to gather evidence quietly. I tracked his credit card statements and found strange expenses at restaurants we had never visited and gifts that never reached me. The evidence accumulated piece by piece, forming a horrific picture I didn't want to see. He wasn't betraying me with just one woman, but with several, and he had another family in a neighboring city, a child and a wife he regularly visited under the guise of business trips. Their photos together, their laughter, their life built on the ruins of mine, screamed at me from his phone screen, which I had left open one night. The shock was too great for my mind to comprehend. I felt as if the earth had swallowed me whole. It wasn't just emotional betrayal. It was a complete destruction of everything I believed in. Every word of love he spoke, every promise he made, every happy moment we shared turned into a hideous lie. How could someone be so cruel and deceitful? How could he live such a double life with such perfection, while I lived in an illusion of love and happiness? I remembered all the small details I had ignored, all the signs I hadn't wanted to see. His delays, his secret calls, his changed behavior. Everything made sense now, painfully so. I felt anger burning in my veins, an anger I had never known before. Anger at Mark and at myself for allowing him to deceive me all these years. How could I have been so naive? How could I not have seen the truth that was as clear as day? At that moment, I no longer saw Mark as my husband, but as a disguised monster, a complete stranger to me. All my dreams, all my hopes, all my trust in humanity shattered. I felt as if I stood on the edge of an abyss and my whole world was collapsing around me. That was the peak of emotional pain, the moment when love turned to ashes, trust to betrayal, and life to a nightmare. But deep within this collapse, a small spark of something else began to glow. A spark I didn't yet know, but it was the beginning of a new journey, a journey towards justice and revenge. After overcoming the shock and despair, and after the spark of anger and determination ignited within me, I realized that crying over spilled milk would bring me nothing. I no longer wanted to be the silent victim. I wanted to be the force that uncovered the truth and brought justice. My revenge was not aimed at physically harming Mark, but at destroying his false world built on lies and deceit. I wanted everyone to see the true face of the man they thought was perfect. I began to formulate a meticulous plan, step by step, with a cold mind and a heart burning with rage. My first step was to gather more evidence.
I wasn't satisfied with what I had found. I wanted a complete file that left no room for doubt. I meticulously tracked his movements, recorded his calls, legally, of course, or at least in ways he couldn't deny, and photographed his secret meetings. I enlisted the help of a close friend, a lawyer, and explained the situation to her. Her shock was immense, but she promised to provide all the legal support and advice I needed. This friend was my only ally in this battle. It wasn't easy. Mark was cunning and cautious, but I was more determined. I worked in silence, like a ghost watching from the shadows. I learned how to use technology to my advantage and how to gather information without leaving a trace. I discovered astonishing details about his other life, about the properties he bought in his other wife's name, and about the money he regularly transferred to her. Each piece of information fueled my determination to expose him. The psychological transformation I underwent was astonishing. From a broken and weak woman, I transformed into a calm, calculated, and determined strategist. I no longer saw Mark as my husband, but as an adversary to be defeated. Revenge was my sole motivation. Not blind revenge, but revenge that restored my dignity and revealed the truth to everyone. I knew the road would be long and difficult, but I was ready for anything. I had nothing left to lose, for I had already lost everything. This plan was my only way to reclaim my life and to show the world that betrayal does not go unpunished. Once my plan was complete and the evidence in my hands was strong enough to shake any court, it was time to set the stage. I didn't want to confront Mark directly at first. I wanted to see fear slowly creep into his heart, to feel his world crumbling around him without knowing where the blow was coming from. My first steps were to plant seeds of doubt in the minds of those around him, those who trusted him and considered him a role model. I started by subtly leaking small, indirect pieces of information to some of his colleagues and our mutual friends. I didn't accuse him directly, but I would ask innocent questions or mention fleeting details that seemed insignificant on the surface, but were enough to spark curiosity and suspicion. For example, I would mention how Mark talked about a secret project in another city, while I knew he was spending time with his other family there. This information, when pieced together, began to paint a completely different picture of Mark in the minds of those around him. Mark remained completely oblivious to what was happening. He thought I was still the naive wife who knew nothing. He would come home with his usual smile, trying to talk to me as if nothing was wrong. I would respond calmly, with a cold smile that hid a storm. I watched him talk about his successes at work and his future plans, while I knew his world was on the verge of collapse. This feeling of power, of control, was what nourished me and gave me the strength to continue. Every step of my plan was meticulously calculated. I used my intelligence, my patience, and everything I had learned about Mark during our years of marriage. I knew his strengths and weaknesses and how I could exploit them to my advantage. It wasn't easy. There were moments of weakness, moments when I felt hesitant and afraid. But every time I felt weak, I remembered the pain he caused me and the betrayal that shattered my soul, and that gave me the strength to move forward. I knew that justice was approaching, step by step, and I was willing to pay any price to achieve it. With each passing day, the net I had woven around Mark tightened further. Doubts were no longer whispers, they became facts circulating among people. The information I had leaked began to bear fruit, and people around him started asking questions. Mark was no longer able to hide his contradictions, and his secret life began to leak into the open uncontrollably. His professional life began to suffer. Important clients started to withdraw, and colleagues began to look at him with suspicion. He was no longer the confident man he once was, but became tense, anxious, making mistakes. He desperately tried to find the source of these leaks, but he didn't know that the source was closer to him than he imagined. I watched him from the shadows, seeing signs of panic creep into his face, and I felt a small victory with each sign. I didn't stop there. It was time to escalate the plan. I leaked the most sensitive evidence to the relevant authorities. Emails, call logs, invoice photos, testimonies, everything that proved his double life and his betrayal. I didn't send them directly, but used clever methods to ensure they reached their destination without being linked to me. I wanted the blow to be decisive and to come from where he least expected it. Mark began to sense that something was happening. He started asking me strange questions, trying to glean something from me. I responded coldly, with a smile devoid of any emotion. I saw fear in his eyes, the fear of the unknown, the fear that his world, built on lies, could collapse at any moment. He tried to rebuild bridges, to feign love and concern, but it was too late. There was no turning back. This stage was the most psychologically exhausting. I lived under immense pressure, fearing that I would be exposed or that my plan would fail. But every time I felt weak, I remembered his face smiling at me while he was betraying me. I remembered the pain he caused me, and that gave me the strength to move forward. I knew that the end was near, that justice would soon be served, and that Mark would pay the price for his betrayal. The appointed day arrived, the day when everything would be revealed. It wasn't just an ordinary day. It was the culmination of weeks of meticulous planning, bitter patience, and suppressed anger. Mark had invited everyone to a large dinner party at our house, under the pretext of celebrating his recent promotion at work. He thought that by doing so, he would prove to everyone that he was still the successful man, and that all the rumors circulating about him were baseless. But he didn't know that this party would be the stage for his crushing fall. The house was buzzing with guests, his colleagues, our mutual friends, and even some of his family members. I wore my most beautiful dress and put a calm smile on my face, while my heart trembled with anticipation. Mark was radiant, speaking confidently, exchanging jokes and laughter. He thought he had won, and that he had gotten away with his actions. But I knew his hour had come. In the middle of the party, when everyone was gathered, I asked permission to speak. Mark was surprised, but he smiled at me, thinking I would praise and glorify him. I began my speech by thanking everyone for attending, then spoke about love, trust, and the importance of honesty in relationships. My words were calm, but they carried a volcano on the verge of eruption. Then, calmly, I began to reveal the facts. I didn't scream, I didn't cry, but I presented the evidence one after another. Photos, messages, invoices, testimonies. Everything that proved his double life, his betrayal, and his lies. Silence fell over the place. Faces turned from smiles to shock, then to anger. Mark, who was standing next to me, his face turned pale and his eyes flashed with panic. He tried to interrupt me, to deny, but the evidence was overwhelming. My lawyer friend stood by my side, ready to provide legal support if needed. At that moment, Mark realized that everything was over. His secret life, his reputation, Everything he had built on lies collapsed before him in an instant. Mark didn't wait for the end. He left the party in silence, leaving behind chaos, shocked faces, and the wreckage of his life. At that moment, I felt a strange victory. Not a victory over Mark, but a victory for myself, for my dignity, and for the truth I had long sought. After that dramatic night, the fog that had enveloped my life lifted.
It wasn't easy, for the scars of betrayal are not erased in one night, but I felt a liberation I hadn't felt in years. I began the journey of recovery and rebuilding myself anew. The divorce was a painful process, but it was necessary.
I reclaimed my name, my dignity, and most importantly, my self-trust. Revenge was not the ultimate goal, but a means to restore justice. I didn't feel gloating, but rather a sense of peace. The peace that comes when you realize you've done the right thing, and that you haven't allowed injustice to triumph. Mark, for his part, lost everything. He lost his job, his reputation, both his families. There was no place left for him to hide from the truth. His life, built on lies, had completely collapsed, leaving nothing but ashes. I learned invaluable lessons from this bitter experience. I learned that trust is the most precious thing a person possesses, and that betrayal not only destroys the victim, but also the betrayer himself. I learned that true strength lies not in blind revenge, but in resilience and in the ability to rebuild oneself anew. I learned to listen to my inner voice, to trust my intuition, and not to ignore warning signs, no matter how small. Today, I live a completely different life, a life built on honesty, transparency, and true love. I no longer fear being weak, nor do I fear being strong. I have become a wiser, more mature woman, more capable of facing life's challenges. The scars may be there, but they remind me of the battle I fought and the victory I achieved. My message to everyone going through a similar experience is, do not succumb to despair. Do not let betrayal destroy you. Seek the truth, demand justice, and most importantly, forgive yourselves. For life goes on, and there is always an opportunity to rebuild and to find true happiness. Always remember that you deserve love, honesty, and respect, and that light always follows darkness, and after every storm, there is a new sunrise. This is my story, and this is my voice, which I share with you, hoping it brings comfort or inspiration to those facing similar circumstances. Remember, you are stronger than you think.